everyone. Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils. And you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go, Devils!
Let's go, Devils. Bob, we said that this was the road trip that was going to make or break pretty much their playoff chances. We are 50% done. Yes. We are batting 1,000, and we're also 50% of Uncle Pucker's strength.
Yes.
So
a little deficient today.
Yeah. So far so good. I mean, I there's been a lot said about the Vancouver game already. Sure. But give me your quick thoughts on that, and then I really want to talk about that Seattle game.
Yeah. So listen, the Vancouver game. I mean, that was a fun game. Right. I mean, all things aside with the Hughes family, which turned out awesome with, Jack getting 2 assists and a goal, Luke getting the power play goal, Quinn getting a couple power play assists or a couple assists. I mean, they got all the points going. It was a feel-good kind of game. And that's a type of fun game you'll take in the middle of the year at any time and say, hey, don't always love to, win that way, but we'll take it. It was exciting as hell. I had a problem with it in the context of our season up until that point. Sure, it's great to win 6-5 and the way they won. I'm sure it did a lot for the locker room, but I'm just sitting there going, Jesus, seriously? Another 5 goals we got to give up? And I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, which brings us to the next game, which was quite the shock.
But the Vancouver game, I had said when we did the preview, kind of keys as to the Seattle game, I was talking a little bit about the Vancouver game, and I said exactly that. I said, as the hockey fan in me, this was so much fun to watch. This game was great. As the Devil fan in me, it's like, really? You gave up 3 third-period goals, and Vitek couldn't, everything had, a 3-foot rebound right in front of him. It was really tough to watch. The fact that I don't think there was one Devil fan alive that was watching that game going, I can't believe we are going to blow this game. And somehow, Jesper Bratt, out of witness protection, he is back. Yes. And, he went back in last night, but that's actually okay. So
it was great to see him step up, because like we said, we have enough leaders on this team and high-profile scorers on this team where a different person can step up every night, help you win a game. Jesper did that. And again, yeah, like you said, it was completely exciting. And as strictly a fan, I love it. Give it to me in a regular season when things are going fairly normal. Because things haven't been going fairly normal. We ended the last week all of a sudden with a bad taste in our mouth with that loss. And now, you get a couple quick wins, you turn around, and now it's 4 out of 5 again. We won 4 out of 5. So it's always context.
And you know what else eases the blow to San Jose? When you actually see what the Sharks did after that game. And I watched the Detroit game last night, Detroit-San Jose game. And did you watch that game?
I watched some of it, yes, I did.
Dude, that might be the most bananas game I've ever seen in my life. That second period was ridiculous, at least the second period. Yeah. But, watching San Jose, and it's like, I know the beginning of the year they were terrible, but here's the thing: sure. They're super young. They do have a couple of veterans on, but they're not a very good team. So you have to get the most out of them by them doing the fundamentals very, very good. Yeah. And those few wins that they tracked off, I think they won now 3 in a row. They are fundamentally sound. Those wins are coming from just pure hard work, being in the right places at the right time. A couple of guys just really taking advantage of every opportunity that they get. They are hungry for that puck, man. Anytime that puck is loose, Sharks are on it, like a shark.
Like a shark, huh? And Hurdle's hot, which is always good when he's going.
Blackwood didn't play great. He gave up those 4 real quick, and then he was yanked. But then they get scored on in the third. They're down a goal, and they fight back. They pull the goalie with 2.5 minutes left. They fight back. They score. And then, Fabian Zetterlund. And I do have a big question because I know that these conversations are about to start popping everywhere. So I figured we will get a jump on this. Did we really make the right move with getting rid of Fabian Zetterlund for Timo Meier conversation? Now, like I said, we're going to talk about that later. Just to preface, I don't think we made the wrong move. I still believe in Timo Meier, but it is really awesome to see Fabian Zetterlund playing really good. It really does make you feel like you know what? This was kind of a very fair trade. You know,
it was a good trade. Yep.
And, you know, we did give up a lot, but they deserved a lot. You know, again, you know, we have Timo for 8 years, so I'm not judging him.
None of us actually wanted him in the package. We were all fans of his game. But I think we touched on it in the summer appropriately, which was, you know, you have to give to get. They're not going to take a bunch of nobodies. Not that any of them are, but you know what I mean? There's got to be somebody with a really high ceiling. We thought he had that. He's showing it right now. You know, good for him.
You know, like I said, I like Timo Meier, and I believe in Timo Meier, and I think when he finds his game in New Jersey, he's going to be very, very good for a long time with us. But in all honesty, I think if we were to swap up to this point this season, Fabian Zetterlund and Timo Meier, I don't think our results are different at all. I really don't. I think, if anything, he brings something extra that I've seen when he's really playing well, that we've yet to kind of see from Timo. So, but you know what? Yeah, it felt really tough taking that loss on Saturday night and Sunday. And then when you get to now and you're like, you know what? They did lose badly, but they're a really good team. And if you even overlook them a little bit, they're going to make you pay. And I think the Devils did that, and they paid for it.
They have a overtime win against the Islanders too. Right?
Yeah,
in there.
They came back in that.
They came back on that one as well. Yeah,
they won it in overtime.
It just goes to show you, you know, the whole cliche. You know, they're still professional hockey teams, right? It's nothing's a cakewalk. With San Jose, they started so bad that it's very easy to look at the schedule and say, "Oh, there's a win, and we've been doing that all year. We did it in the summer. Like, it's so hard to do that. And you're gonna lose games like that, like we all said. Again, I'm saying context way too many times tonight, but that loss. In context of this year was just so brutal.
Right.
And it was, for me, it was one of the first times I was kind of audibly angry.
You were not happy.
I was not happy. I don't really understand that kind of effort, but you turn the page again. If you look at it now, is it 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6? I'm not quite sure, but 5 out of 6. So that's good. And now you have a real big chance on this swing that was supposed to be pretty tough and still is. You got a real good chance of beating Calgary. Oilers just started getting hot again. I don't know what Oilers we're going to get. I know that we're going to get Connor McDavid's on fire. I am
so excited for that game on Sunday, and it falls right at the same time that the Vikings and Raiders are playing. So I'm going completely hockey radio silent from 4 p.m. until I get home from work at like 9:30. I'll have the game taped. I won't look at anything, and I'll sit down and watch it in its entirety because I got to watch the Viking game because I'm stealing that on the internet, so I can't tape it, you know, so I got to watch it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that Edmonton game. They're playing so freaking good right now.
That was just a matter of time. Right?
Yeah,
it was easy. You know, none of us wrote off Connor McDavid or the team, but it was interesting, the parallel, right, of that team picked to be such a favorite that was doing, you know, arguably as bad as us.
Worse.
Worse. Okay.
Yeah, they're sub 500 still. They have a ways to go. I think 12 points or so out of even a wild card right now.
Right.
So
that is a ways to go.
They were really bad. I'm not 100% sure of those numbers. But I know it's high. I know it's a lot of points that they have to make up. And you know what though? I think every hockey fan with a brain says Edmonton's going to be in the playoffs. They're going to make up those points because that's what they do.
Well, I mean, you got one guy alone that might get you 150 points again. So
what's he on, like a 3-point-a-game pace lately?
Pretty much. I think Jack is still leading the league in points per game, but lately, he's on fire. And he, like we talked about before, he's, to me, the greatest player I've ever seen at this point. And we've seen some good ones.
Yeah, I mean,
or at least most talented for his size and everything and the way he works. Well, let's see. It's going to be interesting to see when his career's over. I
think there's only one guy that at this point I would maybe compare him to, of like as far as seeing them live, and I might even give this guy a little bit of an edge because I've seen him in person many times. I've never seen Connor McDavid in person. Is Mario Lemieux. And you know, maybe Mario was, I think Mario was that kind of talent where they were just ridiculous. But Connor McDavid in the last 15, 20 years, nobody has been even close to what he can do. And a dude can, like, there are a lot of great players in this league. I mean, look at every team has basically a superstar.
Yeah.
And look at how much better he is than The best on the planet.
That's the thing. I mean, you look at how shifty Jack is, and
Right.
then you look at Connor McDavid and say, well, here's a guy who does the same thing, only he's a hell of a lot bigger. He's tall. He's heavy. He's amazing. Like I told you, I did see him live, and all eyes were on him. Every time he got the puck, I thought he was in front of the whole pack. It was just incredible to watch.
Yeah. So that game's going to be a lot of fun because I think the Devils are going to be able to score some goals, and I'm sure that they'll do the regular switch. I'm pretty sure Vanacek will be in net against Calgary. And after Schmid's performance last night, I think you have to put him in against Edmonton. So that's how I would do it.
You know, I knew this was going to come up, and to me, it's still kind of a conundrum in a way because, you know, Akira deserves the net right now, and you need wins, and he's still the better chance of getting a win right now. So you almost want to play him against Calgary because you want to get a win when you can get a win. But
Makes
then
sense,
that would
sure.
leave V for Edmonton, which is disastrous right now. So I
Right,
agree
because-
with the logic. I just don't like it. I wish there was something else that could happen right now in this part of the schedule.
Well,
like
there is,
not be
Bob.
back to back, so he can just play him.
You forget a week ago, dipshit Lindy played Schmid back to back. So maybe we don't see Vanacek at all in this road.
He only made 89 saves that night, so
yeah.
it's not a big deal.
That night that he came on the back to back, the second night he only made 6. He had a rough night. That's why I can't see. That was the San Jose game. That's why I can't see him being in net back to back again. Like that blew up in Lindy's face, and he needs to. Okay, the guy needs some rest too. You know,
It did.
But they don't seem to have any faith in Vitek Vanacek.
I don't have any faith in V, and I've always had more faith in V right up until like a week or two ago. Again, not much more. Just thought as a regular season goalie and as a more consistent goalie, he gave us the better chance to win most nights. That's flipped. And now I don't even want him in the net. I almost just want to say, suck it up.
Right.
Go for it, Schmid.
You know, we can kind of, because like we just said, right, we can kind of take that the San Jose Shark game and kind of throw that away. Like Vitek probably Schmid probably wasn't in our heads. Like he wasn't prepared to start. Like we were never expecting him to be in there, and he was, and it was a stinker, and the whole team paid crap. So let's take that game and throw it away and go to the Flyer game, which he started the previous night, and then last night's game against Seattle. All right, the Flyers game, he made 44 saves on 47 shots with a save percentage of .936. Yes. And last night against the Kraken, 37 saves on 38 shots with a save percentage of .974. So Akira Schmid's last 2 outings, look at where his save percentage is. I understand the whole small sample size thing, but that's encouraging. If you're a Devil fan, you're like, all right, this is where we need to be.
It goes back further than that, too. He just with that last win, his total save percentage came over 90.
It's over 9 now.
And I think it was Bill Spaulding who said, if you look at his last 5, I think he's got like a 923.
Well, that's just crazy amount of research, Bob. I'm not about to do that shit.
It was a Twitter post. I didn't dig for it.
No, I'm saying you get 2 games. That's as far back as I go.
Oh, I see. I like the 5. That's showing a little bit more of a pattern.
Sure.
The two works well too. With the 2, I say he starts Calgary. I want as many wins as I can get, but I understand the logic because you put Vitek against Edmonton, it
can get ugly. You know, you're going to see you put Vitek at this point against Edmonton, you're going to see Schmid at some point. So you don't want to. So you got to start him. But
I know this has nothing to do with our team, but you know how excited I was to see Dawes come back today.
I know.
I like Dawes. I thought. You know, I really thought he was our next comer before Schmid emerged.
I'm really interested to see Nico Dawes now. 2 years removed from that year where he just got thrown into a fucking fire, and for the most part, did pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, was he over 500 or was he right a game or so under? I think he was either
awfully close on a bad team.
11 and 10 or 10 and 11 on that one. So, you know, on a really, really bad team. Really young, inexperienced team that had no idea how to win. But he showed a lot of heart, and I'd love to see him now. But that brings me back to, like, you really are that out on Vitek, huh?
I'm not out permanently. I just think that what he's dealing with is purely mental. I said last year after the playoffs, you don't just lose everything you are overnight. Any hockey player in any position, typically speaking, it's more of a gradual decline. Head case is the one thing that could just throw you off forever. He's just got to get right.
That or injury.
Well, of course. And I just think he needs to get right. And for that, I mean, but there's no safe games. It's not like there's an absolute team we can play him against and say he's going to win. So you guess you just got to put him back out there. But right now, I'm just not comfortable. Like right now, if you just told me Schmid's starting, I say we got a better chance of winning. That's the bottom line.
And look, even Schmid might get lit up by Edmonton. But I also think if Schmid gets lit up by Edmonton, then Stuart Skinner's probably getting lit up by the Devils too. I think that's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be wild, and I think there's going to be a lot of goals scored. And it's going to be really, I think, tough to watch because it's going to piss us off. But in the end, it's going to be a really fun game. I'm really looking forward to that game. We have a ton of back-to-backs. Like, we need a competent number two. I don't know if, I think Vitek is it. I think he'll get himself together, and I think you have to start him in Calgary. You can't just basically let it be known that you've completely given up on him, especially if you think that there's a problem with his fucking head, because that's just going to probably fuck him up more. So, let's get him in. And look, if Vitek played last night, we would have lost that game. I believe that. You go to the game. That, to me, what last night's game was the most important win of the Devils' season so far.
And let's call it what it was, right? That was a goalie win. We got a goalie to steal us a win.
No doubt.
That's what we wanted.
No doubt.
It's got to happen every now and then.
That's why, one of the reasons why I say it's the most important win of the season. We haven't seen them play like this where, look, man, it was a rough night for our superstars, right? Like, Bratt, Hughes, Heischer, Meier, Toffoli. These guys, I think maybe there was a point. I think Bratt got up one of the points, but those guys, they weren't getting any, they just had no opportunities. It wasn't coming easy. We were lucky enough to get the 2 goals where we did, and we'll talk about that. But, when that doesn't, we talked about it on the last show with Brodeur. Like, there were nights where you knew he said it. He was like, my guys aren't there. I got to be on point and I got to win this game. And Schmid did that last night because, the defense, I thought, even though they gave up a lot of shots, especially in the third period, I did think our defense played really well, the team defense. The shots were coming, but they were not good chances. They had a couple of net mouth scrums there late, but there was really nothing that, and that's what you need to see.
They were completely under siege, and they did the whole bend, don't break thing. You know what I mean? They did just enough to win the game. You have to win games like that during the year. You probably have to win 10, 15% of your games like that during the year.
And they haven't done it yet. And this was the game where they, we only allowed 1 goal, and I can't fault them on that goal. It was a good goal.
Oh, God. Nothing to do about that.
Both goalies played really well. The fact that, Palat had his opportunity, capitalized on it. We've seen too many times this year where, he'd have a wide open net like that and hit the post or shoot it wide or, so that was good to see. And then, Simone Nemec is going to be something special, man.
Is he ever? The read he had on that play was so far advanced of the play. You saw him coming, like, it just, if you scripted it, you'd say, wow, look how perfectly he followed that script.
It looked like it was a drawn up play. Like,
which of course it wasn't with the puck in the corner and all that, but
no, he, his hockey sense, his skating, like everything about this dude. I'm like, in a couple of years, we are going to have the best defensive tandem in the NHL.
No doubt. There's a lot of talk about us passing up on Cooley for him. And, some are camp Cooley and some are camp, defense. And, again, we're loaded with forwards. This was absolutely the right move for us. Even if Cooley winds up being a better player, like overall, to have this kind of guy where he projects to be on defense in the next couple of years it's incredible. People forget he's a number 2 pick. He's a hell of a hockey player.
That's the one thing I have to say that pisses me off more about hockey fans than anything else is this constant comparison of fucking draft picks to each other. And they do it, and it's not just in hockey. They do it in every sport, but in hockey, they do it the most. Like, okay, Connor McDavid, Jack Eichel, right? Like, sure, everybody would take Connor McDavid. He's the better player. But Jack Eichel's got a fucking ring, and Connor McDavid doesn't. What's worth what?
Exactly.
I mean, one guy plays defense, one guy plays forward. You're a whole different player. You're talking about what's needs that a team, like you just said, a team needs. Where just where you are structurally as a franchise, wherever, that all goes into who you draft. And the fact that you draft two completely different positions, it's not like you said. We didn't need forwards.
Not to mention star forwards coming out of a draft. Like big time stars, way more plentiful than big time star defensemen.
Yeah.
One of the other things I just heard somebody bring up was the Makar 2017.
I was just
retrospect being what it is. Who do you pick? You're not going wrong with either one of them. Okay?
That's my point. Like if
Nico's our captain, he drives us. He's a two-way player.
If you had the
Cale
choice,
Makar might be the best defenseman out there right now. I don't know.
If you had the choice right now, and somebody said you go back to that draft, who do you take? Knowing what you know now.
Knowing what I know now, because I know where we went, yes, I would take Hischier because I want to get my two centermen like that down the middle, and now we're going to be loaded on defense too. And we're only, God willing that we are playing the way we're supposed to be playing. We're only a couple of years behind Colorado.
I take Hischier too for the exact. I just said the team needs. Where how these guys wanted to build this team out was down the middle with really solid players. Look at we get 2 first-round picks. That's what we take. And I honestly think yes, Jack is a generational talent, but Hischier, man, I can't imagine this team without him in the lineup. It's just he's starting to be this year. I think kind of being the captain that I think management foresaw him to be. And he's really kind of stepping into that role now. And that's awesome to see.
Yeah. You know how there's always talk about whoever wins a Stanley Cup, like the next year, everybody tries to emulate that style of play to go. And this happens year after year after year, whether it's true or not. But the one thing that never changes about like championship teams is just having that real strong down the middle.
Yeah.
Even now people are saying, hey, you can win with an average goalie. You don't need a Brodeur and this and that. And no, you need strict defense or pure offense. You always need that middle.
And a lot of teams are building their defenses up with much bigger guys now and trying to emulate what Vegas did, especially out west. There's quite a few teams going that route. Even Florida kind of bulked up down there.
It's cool that you said that because, that's the missing piece. When people just kind of ignorantly say, you can win a championship with, mediocre goaltending. Well, then another area needs to pick up the slack. And like Vegas, defense and their team being big and strong and team defense, you can't just say any old team can throw a bottom 10 goalie in there and win. They can, but it's not likely.
Real quick, people like to say, like Vegas, hang on one second. I'm just looking something up. Adin Hill is an average goaltender. Like, have you seen his numbers this year?
I actually have not.
Let me get these real quick. Oh, not what the fucking number, idiot. Give me 1 second here. All right. So Adin Hill right now has an 11-4-0 record. He's played 16 games, a 2.17 goals against, and a save percentage of .932. And so this is not a guy who's an average goaltender.
This dude's not bottom of the pack.
No, this dude's a stud. You still need all those things. The goaltender, look, why didn't Florida win? Because Bobrovsky didn't stop enough pucks. So, you gotta look at it that way. You still need all those things, but they do try and emulate, like you said, everything that a team does. And I sometimes think they overcorrect.
Sure.
I think Toronto kind of overcorrected. Like, we have to be big up front. We have to get more grit, get this, get that. And, sometimes, and I like that this team is we saw how they wanted to build it. From even when Hischier was drafted, it was, we want a fast team, really strong down the middle with, good team defense. And it's crazy through several other general managers, that's how the team has always been built. And up until now, which I think Fitzgerald's done a pretty good job.
I got to tell you, for me, it's the real winning recipe has always been a complete and total hockey balance And it sounds easier than it is, but you need your flashy, high-skilled forwards. You need your role players. You need your stay-at-home defenseman. You need your puck-moving defenseman. You need a better-than-average goaltender. You look at some teams, and they just get so star power heavy. And, the Rangers do that with their trades at the end of the year all the time. I love Patrick Kane, but would they have done better with, another role player? I don't know. I don't know the inside and out of their team. But just that general concept, and maybe that's, being a child of the Lou Lamoriello era, you know what I mean? Right. With his whole symphony thing. But it's true. You need to have those particular roles. You need to buy into it. You need to have the balance. Every now and then you'll get a real flashy team that'll just dazzle you to death and win. But to me, I don't think that that's the long-term success. I think it's purely about balance. And, like a guy like Palat now, for example, I've had my issues earlier in the year, mostly based on his contract. I never didn't want the guy. But now you're looking at what he's doing on a team when they really need it, like getting that first goal last night was huge. I would take Palat getting the first goal 5 or 6 times a year over giving me just 15 goals. You know what I mean? Because they mean something. They're more, and he's definitely a driving force. And now you can legitimately say, we need you on the first line tonight. Well, we're going to put you on the third line tonight, and know what you're going to get from him. And I think he's playing great. That's the kind of balance I'm talking about.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What's Timo Meier's role on this team?
See, I don't know, and I don't think he knows. And I think that is definitely the problem. Why he doesn't at least still play his normal game, I can't quite figure that out. But someone needs to talk to him and sit down and show him some tape of who he was all those years. Because like I said before, that player's still in there. That doesn't just go away. Confidence is a major thing in any sport and anything.
Yeah.
Got to get him going. And when we do, I think he's just going to blow up.
I mean, Tom Fitzgerald traded for a power forward. We have not seen a power forward. Like, it's this, and, I think he's trying to play a little bit more of a finesse game. Like, I guess maybe he feels like, I don't know if he feels that way. Like, I'm playing with Brad, Heischer and Hughes and stuff. And I no, that's not your job, dude. Your job is to get some dirty goals and use that big shot and get under people's skin and be a little bit of muscle up there. Like, who is this dude? Like, and here's the messed up part. Like, out living here in Jersey, like, I don't watch a ton of San Jose Shark stuff. So everything I saw was like best of tape and stuff like that. Of course, I knew who he was and I see his highlights and stuff like that. But for the most part, when I started catching the rumors that we were interested in trading for him, I started doing some research and I'm like, this guy is going to be awesome. Like, I haven't seen that dude. And that's why I say, like, I watched that game last night in Detroit, and I'm like, Fabian Zetterlund would be giving us exactly the same, if not more, because he's playing with more grit and heart right now.
It's funny because I just totally bored everybody talking about balance for way too long, but this is exactly the type of piece I'm talking about. It's like a different piece. You take a Timo Meier and you come in and do what you're supposed to do with your power forward role, and that's a balance in a different direction because now the other team is sitting there going, we already know how we got to put up with Jack. And, Heischer's, great two-way player. Like, now what are we going to do with Timo? But he's not being that right now. So I don't think teams have to game plan against him, which is a deficit for us. It's a weakness for us because when they do need to game plan against him, regardless of what line he's on, that's going to be really positive for us.
Yeah, that's, well said. I agree with you 100%. The dude needs to get going, man. It's been, last year in the playoffs, we saw glimpses of it. And I know he didn't have any goals, didn't have any points, whatever, but we saw that grit, we saw that toughness. I don't expect them to play that way every night, of course not. But so if anybody's out there and they're going to go bet on the Calgary Flames or on the Devils, maybe you could see what the over/under is on, I don't know, Timo Meier hits. Maybe you took a bet that the Penguins will finally score a power play goal tonight. Maybe you did that. They scored one goal. They lost 3-1, but they did score one by Riley Smith. I don't know if it was a power play goal. Listeners are going to have to look that up on their own. But if you wanted to do those things, you totally could. And all you have to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Dumbest slogan ever. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available. For problem gambling, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023. All rights reserved. Thank you, DraftKings.
Awesome.
So, what else do you want to touch on? Anything else about the Seattle game? Or you kind of want to do a little preview of Calgary? Calgary.
No, I think we pretty much, talked about the Seattle game and just really exciting again the way they played. I do recall. Oh yeah, those final seconds too. That goal mouth scrum, like that puck was like a pinball. Like that was going crazy. That very easily could have went the other way. It was just really good to hold on that way. I feel more confident with a win like that than the win we got the previous night, and I'd like to see more of them. And that sets you up for success down the road. And I'm not saying I want the Devils to always win 2-1 because we got the star power. We should be winning 4-1. I'm just saying I want to learn to keep the puck out of the net a little bit. And then, our offense is going to do what our offense is going to do most of the time.
Yeah, there's really, the offense I don't think is an issue. I think this team is going to be able to score goals most nights and be able to score more than the other team. The problem is, like you said, those nights where they're not keeping it out of the net. They have to clean things up and play better defense. And listen, it's a two-way street. Like I, got some comments on, YouTube about, somebody saying that, kind of agree with your points, but, it really is the defense. It's not the goaltending and taking, like we talked about that the last show.
Yep.
And it's fucking splitting hairs at this point, like the whole, and I kind of feel like this game, the team felt different to me against Seattle. Like it kind of felt like things, even though they didn't get the offense, they buckled down where they needed to. They did a lot of good things in that game to be able to pull out that 2-1 win. I think that game is going to kind of propel these guys. And if they can put, like you said, 4-1, put it both together, put together what you did, team defense, Schmid plays that way. Hopefully Vanacek can get to, serviceable at this point.
It's just how on those types of games. So normally with this team right now, you would say no lead is safe going in, right? And just the night before, they pretty much proved that. But at some point, after Nemec scores that goal, and it's 2-1, and it's staying 2-1, I started to get gradually more comfortable. Yep. And that is a telltale sign that you don't notice every single play. Some of these guys that watch these games, I can't believe how many things they notice with these stats and advanced stats and where this guy was. But you do get a feel for it. And you actually when you start to relax more on the couch when it's only 2-1, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you go into a road game, you go into another barn, you get, look, if you even look at now of the teams that should have won stat, like, Seattle's like 56% should have won that game. I think they were like almost 4 goals expected above goals expected. So like we shut them down. They had opportunities. We have to win. And right. Exactly. Like and we proved in that game that we were the better team. You know what I mean? Like we were the better group of men out there, and we won the game, even though we weren't going out there and putting.
Did more with less shots. Yeah. Got it done. A little more clutch. Now, if you really want to get into that kind of thing, even with the San Jose loss, which was horrible, there was a lot of stats coming about kind of the same thing in the Devils' favor as far as chances for, shots against. Like there were things that pointed to the Devils having a better outcome. Maybe not a win. Yeah. That's basically what they were saying. But you look at it and it was such a bad beat down. Otherwise, you go, well, at some point, I think the frustration hit us because at some point, none of that shit matters anymore. At some point, you just got to find a way to win. The last two games, they found a way to win in two very different ways.
Absolutely.
And that's always good.
And, and these next two are going to be huge. I don't know what to expect tomorrow. I really don't. I mean, they're down to their backup, right? I think, what the hell is Markstrom's hurt, right? He broke his finger, so he's out for a little bit of time. I did hear some like rumbling rumors that Devils were maybe inquiring on Markstrom, that maybe Calgary would be looking to dump him. I like Jacob Markstrom, and but now with the broken finger, probably not. Yeah. But I don't know who their backup is. Actually, are you checking?
No, I was just actually looking at the. Yeah,
I'm curious who their backup is. See if it's somebody that we know. But I know that they're a really good team. They beat Carolina last night. They came back from a couple of goals down to do it. So I think that they're going to have their hands full tomorrow.
Yeah, certainly not a cakewalk by any means. I think it's easy to look at it and say, yeah, that's probably a win. I think all things being equal, I think maybe we should win that game. But as we talked about, it's probably going to be Vitek, and I just don't have that much confidence in him right now. But this could be the type of thing we need Vitek to just have one of those miraculous games where he just shuts his mind off and he gets a shutout and he just writes himself. And I'm not saying he's going to become he's going to get 10 shutouts the rest of the year. Just write yourself. Be that average or slightly better than average regular season goalie for us for a little while. That's really going to help.
And their backup, one of their backups is the kid Dustin Wolf, who I heard tons about his college play, and he's supposedly the real deal and the next big time goalie for Calgary, which might be why there's talks of Jacob Markstrom on the market. But if we get him, that'll be fun. I'd love to check this kid out, see how good he is. The other guy is Daniel Vladar. Vladar? Yeah, Vladar.
Yeah.
Why do I not? I've never heard of him.
No, I have not. And they're both big guys, dude. 6'5", 209.
Yeah, it's all goalies nowadays. That's it. They're just bred that way, And like Dan makes a really good point, how so many of these guys are just interchangeable. You could just 90% of these goalies, they're just okay. Pluck one out, put the other guy in, and you'll get the exact same result.
I know, dude. I saw something. Something came on the other day. One of those programs on the NHL Network, and there was a thing on Hasek, and I was like, oh man, I miss those glory days of just seeing a guy like that, just winging it, just doing it his way and stopping the puck.
No doubt. Bob, you want my hot take?
Yeah, let's do a hot take.
By this time, and this is going to be actually one of my predictions for tomorrow's show. Now, you're not going to be here tomorrow?
I will not.
You suck. So we're going to do a show tomorrow, and me and I guess Tony and Dan, Bobby won't be here because he doesn't like to hang out with us on Saturday nights. He just actually has a life, and he's not a loser like us. But
it's just a holiday party.
This prediction is that by this time next week. So by the end of Saturday next week, by the end of Saturday night's show,
okay,
the Devils will be in the top 3 in the Metropolitan Division.
Hold on. All right, hold on. So Saturday night show. So you guys are going tomorrow night. That's the night after Calgary. So you're talking the 16th.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna be in the top 3.
Yep.
All right.
I'm telling you.
Interesting, bud.
We're going to be in the top 3 by next Saturday, and I think we're going to stay there. I think the team has turned the corner. I think they're kind of invigorated. They're healthy.
So 29 points to the threshold now.
Right.
And we're at 27.
27.
24 games. New York's. We got a game in hand on the Islanders.
But
2 games in hand on the Flyers.
You do better by actually looking at their schedule. So if we just take the 2 teams that are above us, right? So we'll start with the Islanders. And they play. So by next, so they have, these are their next few games. The Kings, okay, they lost on the island. So the Los Angeles Kings don't lose on the road ever.
Nope.
Then they have the Toronto Maple Leafs on the island. Then they have the Anaheim Ducks. So I'll give them 2, and then they have Boston Bruins. Okay, so I would say maybe they get 3 points out of that.
Yeah.
right? And then we go to the Flyers, okay, who I think might take Carolina's spot in the playoffs if they don't wake up soon. They have Colorado. All right, that's a tough game.
Yep.
Then they have Nashville, which is a tough game, and they're both on the road. Then they go home to play Washington, which apparently is a lot better than anyone thought this year. Then they play Patrick Kane and the Detroit Red Wings, and that's how that one ends. So I'll give them 3 points.
Okay.
And then we go to our schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the Flames, which I'm going to give 2 points on. The Oilers, which I'm actually going to wait on. We're going to beat the Boston Bruins this year. It's going to happen. So there's 4. And then the Blue Jackets. So there's 6. We're going to be at least 2 or 3 points ahead and in the top 3.
You paint a very plausible scenario for sure. So I like it. Let's go with it.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's surprising that given how mediocre we've played for the talent level that can happen in the next couple of days. I mean, even all this math in general, and, we're sitting here when they talk about, American Thanksgiving, and if you're not in the playoffs and statistics, and we get that for most teams when you're statistically out by now. We weren't statistically out, and now we're, really just points out. It's a good week away from exactly what you just said. So not only wild card, you're right, that can actually get us into the division.
We're going to end up in the top 3, and I do think that Carolina is going to turn it around at some point. I do. The Flyers are playing some inspired hockey right now. They're actually fun to watch. I didn't think I'd ever say that about the Flyers, but they are.
They're fun to watch on mute.
Yeah. Okay.
Jesus Christ, those announcers.
But they're kind of fun to watch. So I can maybe see them making a playoff run late in the season, which would be good. It would be kind of cool if it was the Flyers, Rangers, and Devils in the playoffs. Fuck the Islanders. I'm done with the Islanders. I don't know where they get the balls to stay in this fucking thing this far. I thought they'd be way further down.
I prefer we keep Philly out of it for a little while. I like having hockey to myself living out here.
Does it kind of intrigue you a little bit? If we end up second or third, most likely we're not playing the Rangers. They're going to be, and I know it's too early for playoffs and we're just completely speculating recklessly here. So just bear with us. I'm kind of excited thinking about that. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Philly? Is it going to be Carolina?
I would like anybody but the Rangers. And it doesn't mean I don't want to play them. I'd love to get through them on the way to a championship, of course. It's even better. But yeah, I wouldn't want it again in the first round. It would be nice to see somebody else. Because the Rangers, we shit on them, but they're fucking good. They're fucking good. So.
And I was listening to, I guess it was back in the summer, one of the Elliot Friedman's 32 Thoughts podcast, and Jack was on it. I don't know if you had heard that one, but he actually, talked about that series, and just while he was talking, the question was asked about the Carolina series, and he harkened back to that Ranger series and basically said what we had said back in the time that when it happened, emotionally they were so spent. Not to mention they were the only team in the playoffs to never have a fucking more than one day off.
Right.
They were less than, I think
they won and got on the plane.
They did. And I think something like 30 hours later, they were playing in game 1 of the second round. And, they had no time to even
the coaches, they're not looking ahead. When they say that, they mean it. They're looking at how to beat the Rangers, that game 7. They're not saying, and then we're going to spend a half hour on how to beat Carolina in case we play them. There's no way they're doing that.
No.
So, is it a little bit of an excuse? Sure, it's a reality. Nobody likes to hear it, but it is a reality.
If you don't go and play complete dog shit those first 2 games, maybe you get done with them in 5 or 6 and get some time off. So it's on you. They got what they deserved. I am excited to think, though, the idea of possibly getting Carolina in round 1 this year and knocking them out, getting that revenge, and then seeing the Rangers in round 2, I think that would be awesome. And
I'm so scared of Carolina, though, man. I just don't like facing them.
I've watched a few of their games recently, their last 2 games, actually. I watched most of the Calgary Flame game and Carolina Calgary game last night, and then I watched the entire Edmonton Carolina game, and Edmonton just smoked them. I think they won 6-1. They come and Rod Brindamore is just kind of behind the bench, sitting there like old crazy eyes, doesn't know what to do.
Right.
Read him the riot act after that Edmonton game, and then they blew a lead last night. And that's the thing. I think it was a 2-goal lead. Yeah, it was. They were down. They were up 2-0 in the first. And you go back last year, 5-6 years prior, Carolina gets a 2-goal lead on you. They don't lose. No, they don't lose. They shut it down, and that's it. You're going home. If it happens 5 minutes into the game, you might as well just pack up and go.
Yeah. I was watching a little bit of the Penguins game, Penguins, Florida, just before we came on.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and it's fucking 2-1, and there's an empty net, and Pittsburgh had a 6-on-4 power play, and I'm like, please, it's not another, 3-point game. Like, please, somebody just win. I don't care who it is. Just win straight, and they did. Everybody's getting that point.
I know. But look, I do think the Devils, as far as all those teams in front of us, with the exception of the Rangers, are the better hockey team at this moment. I know that the Flyers are playing good, but we just beat them last week, so we're the better hockey team. And so I think that they'll start jumping people. They'll start putting these wins together, at a better clip. 3 out of 4 right now. I'll take that. They're playing pretty good, and I, like you said, I love how they won these last 2 games. Completely different ways. They stole 4 points basically already on this road trip. Let's go to Calgary and put it both together. Have a nice complete. I like 4-1. I like 4-1 with VTech making 25 saves or 24 saves on 25 shots. That's what I want to see. Nice, consistent game, start to finish. Go to work. Put your briefcase down, get your work done, pack up, and go home.
This is probably the most confident I've been all year to say I really think we can go ahead and get a win. Get another win, make it 3 in a row. To take nothing away from Calgary, who is playing a lot better, like you kind of forecasted in the summer, right? But it's just a feeling, and I think it comes from what you just said. Okay, you won the Wild 1-6-5, one you really had to have to start this off. And not an easy one against a very good team and on the road, and then Seattle too, tough team, and you won it a totally different way. Because of that 2-1 win, I'm that much more confident for Saturday. And then the Oilers, talk to me on Saturday night, before I think that's still a coin flip either way. They are playing great, but we can run and gun with them. So it's going to come down to who wants it more and who plays better in the corners and makes less mistakes.
And goaltending. What goalie is going to make the big save? That game is going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, I don't think that either team is going to get blown out, but I do think that both teams are going to put up a lot of points. Not to mention, I expect Jack to have a big day tomorrow. I mean, the dude was held off the score sheet yesterday. I don't think that shit sits well with him. So I think he's going to come out for the rest. And then the next game, you have Connor McDavid. So, when's Jack at his best? When he's going up against Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, Connor McDavid.
Speaking of Jack, so we're a quarter of the way into the season, and the pace that he's on, is it time to think about how realistic it is that he can blow away 100 points?
Well, what kind of pace is he on right now?
Well, I mean, he's missed a few games, but he has something like 2
How many points does he have?
I'd have to look that up. Hold on, I got it right here. Jack Hughes. Refresh, please. Jack Hughes has 33 points.
33 points in 25 games.
And he has played in 19 games.
He's played in 19 games.
So 33 divided by 19. So he is 1.736 points per game.
Okay, so then how many games did we play? 25?
Let's call it 25, right?
All right, so what is that? That's 60, maybe like 59 games left. Let's call it 60 games left.
All right, let's call it 60 games left.
That would be probably what?
It's 104 points
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Is it realistic that Jack Hughes could wind up with 130 points?
Is it realistic? Yeah. The way this team can score, yeah.
Because this isn't a hot streak stuck in the middle of a season where you go, okay, he got hot for 2 weeks. This is now a consistent, you can look at this. This is 2 months. This is 25 games, or 20 for him. That's incredible.
He's one of the 10 to 12 best players on the planet. I absolutely believe that. Yeah. There's not many guys that I would take over Jack. Yeah, I can see, he's not going to, he's going to have his 3 or 4 point nights. They're going to come. He's very rarely going to be held off the score sheet at all. If the Devils score more than one goal, he's usually involved somehow. So, yeah, I can totally see that.
There was a poll on Twitter X.
And you stroked it.
Yeah, I have to. And it was about if you had to start a team right now with one player, Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes, or Luke Hughes, Who do you pick?
Ooh.
Now, I think most people right away on the surface would isolate Luke out, at least for now. He may wind up being the best of the three.
I isolated Quinn out, but go ahead.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't. I think Quinn's just proven to me right now that he is everything he ever should be. He's just killing it this year. But it was predominantly Jack. Now, it was on our feed, Uncle Pucker, so it's predominantly Devils, of course, so it's a little skewed. But I think when you take everything into account, as good as Quinn's been and as good as Luke can be, and both of the brothers say Luke may be the best of the three of them when all is said and done.
I believe that.
But the fact that Jack's a center, the fact that he's just got that, there's just something about him, right? He's got that it factor that you talk about.
Okay. If I'm starting a team, right, from scratch.
First pick.
I absolutely 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, no questions asked, take Jack Hughes. And it's not just because he's a forward and, I think he's better than the other guys. I think Luke Hughes, I think they're right about that. Luke's ceiling, I think, is so fucking high that it's going to be, to see where this dude is in 3 or 4 years is going to be so much fun to watch. Oh, and then there's another dude named Shimon. Well, we don't really know what his name is. He's like a million different names. Simon Nemec, who's probably going to be real close to that good as well, which is going to just be deadly. But if I'm also starting a brand new team, I need to put asses in the seats, and there's nobody better in the league. Maybe Connor McDavid, maybe a couple of dudes at just putting must see hockey.
Well, even Austin Matthews, who arguably to this point is a greater offensive threat than Jack is to this point.
He's a better goal scorer. He doesn't have that marketability of Jack. No. Jack's a good-looking kid. He's personable. People kind of gravitate to him. Yeah, well, he hates being interviewed.
I love listening to him talk, dude.
But when you actually hear him in something he wants to do, like I said, that 32 Thoughts podcast, when he's sitting down, he's comfortable and he's not answering. He actually even brings that up because he was asked about how he feels about Quinn being named captain of Vancouver, and he mentioned how the captains have so much on him, and it had talked about I can't do what Nico Hischier does. Yeah, I can't get done with a loss and then have to take my gear off and then go answer a bunch of stupid questions about why we just lost, and stuff like that. He's like, I see Nico do that when we weren't winning games, and it's brutal to see. And he's like, I don't ever want to do that. So, I forgot the point I was trying to make. What were we even talking about?
I was talking about Christmas break. Where are we?
No, but yeah, there's not many dudes that are as just must see and marketable as Jack Hughes, and the NHL knows that.
Oh yeah,
and and I think when all's said and done, he'll be a regular 100-point scorer. And he mentioned that. He said, he was kind of annoyed that he was 99. Like, he wants to be 100 point.
I love
dude.
that. And to think, we grew up watching, Patty Elias, still one of my favorites of all time, should be in the Hall of Fame, and the greatest offensive Devil ever, and he plays his entire career with the Devils. Jack's not only going to probably crush that, he's going to crush it in record time.
Oh, no doubt.
And that is amazing because you're talking – Patrick Elias was an amazing hockey player. These are two totally different types of hockey players. But, it's hard not to get, that excited watching this guy because, he got drafted really young and had the pressure on him, right? The first couple of years, it was, oh, my God, what's wrong with Jack Hughes? And there was nothing wrong with Jack Hughes. He was growing up.
Yeah.
And he's just started that now.
And he's too small. He can't play in the NHL. Like, he was written off his first year. You're 100% right. And all the dude did was work his ass off every year. And look at this year. Like, his face-offs are considerably better than they were last year. Like,
who'd have thought? I would have never thought that he would give a fuck about face-offs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No.
He was just to me, he was just like, nope, I'm just going to go.
And what did he do in the playoffs last year? Played defense. Like, he's willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Played hard ass too.
Yeah, and I think he'll be really, I think, annoyed that he wasn't on the point sheet last night. So he's going to go out in Calgary and Edmonton and have a field.
Somebody asked him a question too about the points. I guess maybe it had to do with Quinn's points versus his. And he was like, well, yeah, I did miss like 5 games. Nice. He's like, I'm going to have to make that up. I love it because he's just like, yeah, he wants to win. And there's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong with him wanting to be like the best.
No,
I think it's
not
great.
at all.
I think we need more players like that need to want to be the best.
And Jesper Bratt was also on it when I listened to an interview with him on the same podcast back in the summertime. And that was a good one too. He's very cerebral in the way that he approaches the game. Like, he speaks to his sports therapist and he writes in his journal after every single game, not just about the game, but about his day and all this stuff.
That's awesome.
I'm just thinking, but maybe I'm just sitting here going, just maybe get another therapist, dude. This guy doesn't seem to be working. Maybe you just don't see him consistently enough. Maybe you just need to see him more often.
I think we need to take Bratt and Timo, put them in a room together with a new therapist.
That's it.
Start with how much they're making.
And Vanacek.
Say you wanted to make this kind of money. You just might want to do something.
Yeah. Fix all their fucking heads. Put them all in there. So you're not going to be here tomorrow. So before we wrap up, give me your prediction on whatchamacallit, the Calgary game, and then what are you thinking for Edmonton?
Okay, I do think we're going to get a fairly not lopsided win, but kind of a more easy win. The team's going to show up on both sides of the puck. So I'm going to go with the whole 4-1 kind of theme, not easy by any stretch, but enough where you can breathe just for a little bit. That's what I really think is going to happen with the Calgary game. I would understand if they lost because Calgary is a good team. And I would also understand if we totally destroy them. But my gut says a hockey win. Edmonton, I don't know. Again, that's going to be a coin flip for me. Offensive showdown. Just not really sure where to go with that one yet.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Before I give you my take on the Calgary game, $1.45 million. Do you know what that is?
More money than I'll make?
It is, but that's not what I was going for. That's what Fabian Zetterlund's making this year. Throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
Timo's making what, 9?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Almost 9.
Well, listen, let's I want to end on one more positive too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sunday's a big game for you. Who are you playing again? Vikings?
Oh, yeah, the Raiders.
You're playing the Raiders.
Yep.
So I got this little ditty came in today. So
no shit.
This is my son's new jersey.
That's his hockey jersey. So it's
right?
like the perfect jersey.
It's really cool, right? You'd love that. You got the yellow and red and black scheme going.
It's basically the Minnesota Viking logo on a hockey jersey. Which is awesome. And he's got Jack's number.
You got 86.
That's awesome. That is.
And let me tell you, we went. So he's in his new league, and we went to the pro shop, and you had to pick 2 numbers in case one of them wasn't taken. And he wanted 86 first, and then he just kind of randomly picked 12 as a second one. I'm like, maybe 43? And he's like, why would I want 43? I'm like, never mind. But I told him, like, you might not get 86, so really make sure 12 is what you want, because he does know what 43 is. I'm kidding. And I'm like, because you could possibly do that, because when we got our rosters for all the kids on the team, there's one kid's name. They got like their picture and stuff on the app, and it was like whatever name 86. I'm like, I don't know. I assumed this kid was already on the league before my son. So I was like, we might already have an 86, which is really weird to be out here and, have an 86. That's why I thought it was kind of free. He would definitely get it. But it turns out that was just the kid's number for his other team that he does in a different league. So when we were in the pro shop and we filled out the form, I've since met the dad, big Devils fan, him and his son. They were behind us and also filled out 86, but we got there like 2 minutes ahead. So the kid was disappointed because he's 86 in his other league, but not this league. But I was like, well, that's okay because we were only in one league. So we got the 86.
The kid.
I do not know. That is a good question.
Yeah,
I'll check. I wonder if he did the 43 route.
Yeah,
but
follow up to that.
My kid is so excited to wear Jack Hughes' number. And, we got him a regular Jack Hughes jersey too. So when we go up to the game, we're surely going to be there early, see what we can do for that kind of thing. So to see, I get to see my last name on a jersey with Jack's number, which is also like my favorite baseball year. So like everything's coming up 86 for me. I love it.
Awesome. That is awesome. So, I expect Calgary to be a tough game. I expect the Devils to win. I think they're going to have a good effort. I think Jack is going to go off. I think a 3-point game, 5-3 New Jersey. That's what I'm going with. Edmonton, I'll go 6-5 overtime. I'm not going to pick a winner. It's going to end in overtime.
There you go.
It's going to be a 6-5 game. It's going to be fun. So
I'll tell you what, if we get the 3 straight and then we get a point out of Edmonton either way, like I would definitely take that road trip.
Absolutely.
You kidding me?
Absolutely.
You know? I mean, honestly, I would even take a loss sandwich in there if you're being realistic. A 4-game Western Canada road trip, you get 3 out of 4. That's always a good trip. But I'm getting greedy at this point after seeing the way they played. So hopefully we get at least
4 out of 4.
7 out of 8 points.
Great.
Yeah.
if they come out of this road trip seriously 4 out of 4, I think they would be on a run. They would be really, I think,
it reminds me very much of last year.
Yeah, and all the guys would be, most of the guys hitting on all cylinders, and that's what we need. We've kind of done this with a few dudes under the radar. Like I really am waiting for Dawson Mercer to start playing and start putting the puck in the net. Jesper Bratt's got to be more consistent. Timo Meier. I think Jack's going to have a big game tomorrow. I think Heischer's going to have a big game tomorrow. Those two are going to drive the force, drive the car. I think 5-2, and then Edmonton's just going to be fun, and it's going to be awesome to watch. But you can't text me or anything during the Edmonton game. So
nope, that's fine.
Uncle Puckers will be back tomorrow, where we'll talk about the aforementioned Calgary Flame game. Will be 75% capacity with me, Tone, and Dan tomorrow. Bobby is taking the evening off, but you can listen to us anyway. Wherever you listen to us, give us a positive review, 5-star rating goes a long way to promote the podcast. What'd you say?
I said it won't be as good, but you can do it.
No, it definitely won't be as good. It would be missing something, but we'll bring Snoop Dogg in. He'll come in. My bobblehead Snoop. So thanks so much for checking us out, guys. We appreciate you, and it looks like Devils are going in the right direction, so this is a good thing. And we're going to be here again tomorrow. For Bobby, I'm Chris. We're the Uncle Puckers. We'll see you when we see you.
Bye-byes. I mean, later.